But KC Singh documents show that it has gone to Bangladesh, which had an election, and then there was the controversy over the manner in which the election was conducted, eventually led to Sheikh Hasina leaving the country, a students' revolt. So this notion that America is interfering, you see, there is this subtext that America wants to interfere and destabilize governments in South Asia, and that's being preyed upon. Do you believe that there is a genuine fear, or is this classic foreign hand started by Indira Gandhi in the 1970s, now taken to another level by the Modi government?
Look, it's been talked about openly for a long time that they were unhappy with Sheikh Hasina. That's not a secret. And when she went, very clearly, India has hinted, everybody has hinted that there is an American hand in this. But nowhere does it say that the US government, the last one or this one, wants to remove Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi is one of the most pro-US prime ministers India has had. Why would they want to replace him? Replace him with what? A government and a UPA government. You don't know what the policy of that government may be.
No, the BJP says it's not the US government. This is the deep state, the likes of George Soros.
George Soros can send his own money. Nobody is claiming it's his money that has come. They're saying it's US government's USAID money, for which they are accountable to their legislature, and people are accountable here who are receiving that money. So it becomes so. But this foreign hand thing is a very old gambit. It's not new. Anytime any leader feels he needs a stick to beat the opposition with, you pull out this argument of a foreign hand. Though at the moment, Mr. Modi is under no threat from the opposition at the moment. So I don't see what was the need for it, unless the idea is keep the opposition as suppressed as you possibly can.
You know, that's precisely the point, T.P. Srinivasan. You've dealt with America over the years. This is a period when there is a bipartisan consensus between Republicans and Democrats to have a pro-India approach to relations in South Asia. The old-style hyphenation of India-Pak is over. They've de-hyphenated it. India is the focus. So why would anyone in the US want to jeopardize that relationship using USAID? And then when George Soros' name is tossed around, it seems that it's only used to keep the pot boiling. Should the government of the day be telling these IT cell warriors of theirs, lay off? You're only embarrassing us.
No, talking about somebody trying to influence the elections, he is aiming at Biden, because Biden is not supposed to have had a good relationship with India. And therefore, there were these rumors that he was trying to declare India non-democratic, etc. So he used that. But the whole thing, as I said earlier, is not aimed against India at all. This is a cost-cutting exercise, is to paying and looking for evidence. In fact, even all this, the most ridiculous thing is there was confusion between water and water, whether this was for water's turnout or to improve the water supply situation in India. So that is the amount of ridiculous interpretations being given. So I don't think it is a serious matter to be,
So should we just ignore? Are you saying, Mr. Srinivasan, we should ignore Donald Trump may well come tomorrow morning and say, look, I've given $25 million in, the previous government gave $25 million to the Modi government for allegedly issues related to democracy. Should we just ignore the man? Is that the way to do it? Can you ignore the President of the United States?
Yes. Yes, in this particular case, you can. You can at least wait till he comes back. I don't think we'll hear about it anymore.
Irfan, you're smiling through this. You're in Washington, so you probably know a little bit more about the way Donald Trump operates. Should the Indian government deal with him, be ready at times to just ignore what he says rather than react every time Donald Trump opens his mouth?
If we all have to learn how to ignore Donald Trump, or we're going to go insane over the next 4 years. But the Indian government has to be secure in its own policies, its own regulations, off-the-cuff allegation that has been contradicted by the president himself, as your reporting suggested, 4 different statements that get the facts, that change the facts. We cannot be reacting every time he says something. The next thing he might say might be something that's about PLI, it's about manufacturing. He called India the tariff king, right? The truth of the matter is that Donald Trump says what he thinks his audience wants to hear in a given moment. We have to know what is actually true, and we have to do the facts. You asked earlier whether or not the IT cell should be told to calm down. It should. Think of the position that those tweets are putting the MEA in. If Dr. Jaishankar wants to do a serious probe and come out, the facts are going to show that there was no malfeasance over here. But the narrative construction being conducted by other elements supportive of the government will suggest that any such finding is prima facie incorrect, cannot be believed, because they've already linked it to George Soros. They've already linked it to all sorts of other sorts of allegations. So a serious government is secured in knowing what exactly is happening in its own country and can say, we know, we have vetted. No money comes from USAID that does not get vetted through here. We know who the recipients are. There are records on the books. We know when the money was spent.
Right.
We know USAID projects are incredibly detailed about the exact activities to be done. So even something called voter participation could simply be helping people understand, how to read the news, how to understand polls. That is not nefarious work, right? And there should be documents at MHA for each of these contracts. And if that's not, that's a separate set of issues that we should be asking why our government is allowing money to come in under the rules.
I want to give Casey 30 seconds to wrap this up for us. Should we have a white paper at all, as is the opposition in India is now calling for? Or should we just now let sleeping dogs lie, let Donald Trump say what he wants and not react? A quick reaction from you.
I said, look at the irony of it. Who is saying that voters have been increased in the state elections? Is the opposition claiming it? That the ruling party has done it in Maharashtra, in Haryana, and so on and so forth. The ruling party is not saying that the opposition has increased the voters. Well, I think the lesson is that as long as Trump is president, he's already being domestically attacked. He'll be sufficiently weakened, some say even within weeks, if not months, because in town hall meetings, people are standing up and questioning even Republican congressmen. So there is a huge churn which is taking place. In the meanwhile, keep your seatbelts tightened. Do not react every time Trump says something, but also do question them. Don't go silent. Right. You don't need to provoke him, but you can't also let it pass, because you are the largest democracy in the world. You can't be just sitting silently, nor using it to attack the opposition. So I think the lesson is treat it with a degree of confidence in your own nation, quietly contradict him. By the same time, be ready for some more shocks as we go forward.
Okay, we'll leave it there, K.C. Singh. Hopefully, some of the BJP's IT cell warriors and indeed the opposition is also listening. The last thing we want is to get Indian politics tangled in actually what is a policy debate taking place in the United States, and Trump using it to target his rivals there, and then we end up embarrassing ourselves in the process.